Morning, Pa. A later morning because of the weekend. All right. We're still in the second chapter. This time we are on wicked men. Soon after Joseph's recovery of the relics, his father learned that the local money diggers were meeting with a conjurer from another town to aid their scheming after the plates. Joseph Smith Sr. located and gathered men nearby at Samuel Lawrence's house and listened as they devised plans to find Joe Smith's gold Bible. Defying the eavesdropper and visiting the conjurer, probably Luman Walter of Putneyville, bawled out at the top of his voice, "I am not afraid of anybody. We will have them plates in spite of Joe Smith, or all the devils in hell." Footnote 7 says, see Anderson's book, 381 to 382. Brigham Young also described the efforts by this conjurer to obtain the plates. Brigham Young, in February 18th, 1855, Journal of Discourses 2-180. Brigham Young in July 19th, 1857, Journal of Discourses 555. The conjurer is also mentioned in connection with attempts to steal the plates in a reminiscence by Joseph's sister, Catherine Kyle Walker. Catherine Smith Salisbury's Recollections of Joseph Smith's Meeting with Moroni, page 15 through 16. These raiders, described by Lucy Mack Smith as a large company of men well armed, descended on the Smith property several times. See Lucy's book. The Smiths took pains to hide the plates from them, concealing the golden book in the Cooper's shed. What's a Cooper's shed? I'll look that up later. So they concealed it in the Cooper's shed under the floor of the house or beneath the hearth, as Joseph was prompted through divine guidance. Martin Harris related one such instance. Quote, "After they had been concealed under the floor of the Cooper's shop for a short time, Joseph was warned to remove them. He said he was warned by an angel. He took them out and hid them up in the chamber of the Cooper's shop among the flags. That night someone came, took up the floor, and dug up the earth, and would have found the plates had they not been removed." See Mormonism, volume number 2. By such means, Joseph successfully kept the plates in his possession. The Palmyra money diggers, and also the Putneyville conjurer, who had sworn to get the plates despite all the devils in hell, were outwitted by an angel. To lose the plates to the money diggers, even temporarily, would have disastrously negated the purpose of its centuries-long sealing protection. In the biblical narratives, the purpose of sealing a document was to ensure its purity. The document's unbroken seal attests that it had not been opened or tampered with by any unauthorized persons. See Welch's book, Double-Sealed Witness Documents. The sealing up of records by Book of Mormon prophets achieved the same effect by making God the record's lawful possessor and placing it in his care. The process of sealing up preserved it from corruption at the hands of those who seek to destroy the things of God. 2 Nephi 26:17. Nephi, on viewing the same panoramic vision of human history as John the Revelator, learned from an angel that others too had been shown all things, and their records and their visions had been sealed up to come forth in their purity. 1 Nephi 14:26. In this way, the records on the golden plates contrast sharply with the Bible. Across the millennia, the biblical writings were transmitted by human beings, some good, some bad, all fallible, and thus the subject to corruption in the process. Nephi reported seeing in vision these writings had many covenants of the Lord taken away by a great and abominable church. See 1 Nephi 13:26. Yet, over these same millennia, the writings on the plates were in divine keeping. The Book of Mormon could thus come forth from the plates in divinely guaranteed purity through Joseph Smith to restore the covenants lost from the Bible. It could, that is, unless the plates fell into the hands of those, like the money diggers, who might mar them. Even if the plates were not harmed or altered, they would no longer have an unbroken providence of trustworthy safekeeping. Their purity would be suspect. Until the plates were returned to angelic care, no small weight rested on the Smiths. Fortunately, they did not have to bear it alone. When Joseph obtained the plates, the angel not only warned of enemies, but also promised friends that would assist him in both keeping the plates from harm and later publishing the writings they contained. According to Martin Harris, the angel told Joseph to go and look in the spectacles, and he would show him the man that would assist him. And when he did so, he saw myself, Martin Harris, standing before him. You can see Mormonism, volume number 2, for that quote. Lucy Mack Smith related how Martin first became directly involved with the project. On October 6, 1827, 2 eventful weeks after Joseph recovered the plates, Joseph looked into the interpreters, saw Martin through them, and requested his mother to carry an urgent message to Martin about the plates. Footnote 12. At a conference of the church on Wednesday, October 8, 1845, Lucy described this event as occurring 18 years ago last Monday. This detail places it on October 6, 1827, exactly 2 weeks from the day Joseph's final visit to the hill. Norton Jacob, Journal, October 8, 1845, in Vogel. For Lucy's written account of this incident, see Anderson's Lucy's book. For Martin's, see Mormonism, volume number 2. I'm kind of skipping some of the details on the footnotes just so you know what book it's from. I don't think you need the numbers. It slows me down. But it's there. If you really want to do some academic work, you need the pages, let me know. Anyways, Lucy's identification of the timing of this event is significant. Given that Joseph retrieved the plates from the protective ark on the Feast of Trumpets, the first day of the 17th month, 17th month, 17 months in a lunar calendar. Wow. Let's try that again. Given that Joseph retrieved the plates from their protective ark on the Feast of Trumpets, the first day of the 7th month in the Jewish calendar, 14 days from that retrieval was the 15th day and of the 7th month, evoking God's commandment to Moses to hold a new feast at this time after the Feast of Tabernacles and the Day of Atonement. The new festival was the Feast of Tabernacles. Quote, in the 15th day of this 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths, when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Leviticus 23, verses 39 through 43. This feast commemorated the Israelites' 40 years of wandering and trial during the Exodus. While the temple in Jerusalem stood, all Jews were required to make pilgrimage there for a feast. The themes of trial and journey commemorated in this feast on October 6, 1827, intertwined with what was then occurring in the lives of those working to bring forth a book of plates. During the period after Joseph had gotten the plates, but before he had brought them home to safety, the Smiths endured a period of trial that rose to the level of high drama as they fended off literal raids of their home by robbers. And the message Joseph sent to Martin that first day of the Feast of Tabernacles was that Martin was to undertake his own storied sacred journey. Joseph had got the plates and wanted him to take an alphabet of the characters and carry them to the learned men to decipher. Footnote 13, you can see Norton Jacob's Journal, October 8, 1845, in Vogel. Joseph was poorly positioned to do any work of his own with those characters while the plates were in constant jeopardy. It was fortuitous, or providential, that his father-in-law Isaac Hale had cooled his anger over Joseph eloping with Emma and offered the couple a house to live in and land to farm on his property in Harmony, Pennsylvania. In late October, Emma's brother, Alva Hale, arrived with his wagon to help the couple move. They made plans to leave for Harmony on Monday, November 3rd, apparently spreading this as their expected departure date to decoy the robbers. Instead, according to Martin, they left on Saturday, the 1st of November, also the date of a traditional Christian feast known as All Saints' Day. You can see Anderson's Lucy's Book and Mormonism, Volume 2. Joseph and Emma's period of trial and affliction in protecting the plates, from when they lifted the plates from their hilltop ark to when they got them safely away from their adversaries, was thus an even 40 days. This is getting nuts. Holy cow. Like each of the previous dates on which they took a new step in the process of bringing forth the golden plates, this timing had biblical significance. You think? Anyway, Moses endured 40 days of fasting on the sacred mountaintop to acquire the sacred tablets he would place in the ark. Exodus chapter 34, verse 28, Deuteronomy 9:9, Deuteronomy 9:11, and 9:18. Also chapter 25, 10:10. Oh, sorry. It was Deuteronomy chapter 9, verses 9, 11, 18, and 25, and also chapter 10, verse 10. Paralleling the larger 40 years of Israel's affliction in the wilderness, Elijah fasted 40 days on Horeb, the Mount of God, before encountering him in the still small voice. See 1 Kings 19, 8 through 12. And Jesus endured 40 days of fasting and temptation in the wilderness to commune with God. Matthew chapter 4, verse 2, Mark 1:13, and Luke 4:2. Before the couple's departure, a supportive Martin assisted them in paying off their debts and gave them $50 for their journey and to do the Lord's work. You can see Lucy's Book and Mormonism, number 2. The initial period of constant vigilance for the safety of the plates having been successfully navigated, Joseph, Emma, and the plates now passed out of the money digger's reach and into the protection of family and friends. Sealed by the hand of Moroni. For Joseph Smith, harmony was aptly named. Here there would be no more former money-digging colleagues laying claim to the golden plates, no longer needing to hide the sacred treasure from thieves who break in and steal. He could begin work on translating it. Between his November 1827 arrival in Harmony and a visit from Martin Harris's February 1828, and a visit from Martin Harris in February 1828, Joseph transcribed characters from the plates, reportedly doing so behind a curtain so he could unwrap the plates while still keeping them veiled from public view. Footnote 16, early accounts by both John A. Clark and Charles Anton indicate that Joseph made the character transcriptions from behind a curtain. John A. Clark to Dear Brethren, August 24th, 1840, in Vogel. Charles Anderson to E.D. Howe, February 17, 1834. Charles Anton to Thomas Winthrop Coit, April 3rd, 1841, in Vogel. So those are the times that was mentioned. So it looks like there's been 4 or 5 times that was mentioned. That's how he did it. In this way, he prepared a facsimile of the characters for Martin to take to educated men in the larger cities to the east. It may be that Joseph had some hope that the learned men would succeed in translating the plate's alphabet and provide him with a key to decipher the book. Footnote 17, Joseph's father reportedly told Fayette Lapham that an alphabet of the characters was contained on the last leaf of the Book of Plates, and that this was sent to the learned, and Joseph's mother described him wanting the plate's Egyptian alphabet translated. Fayette Lapham interviewed with Father Joseph Smith in Mormon Prophet 40 years ago, his accounting in the finding of the sacred plates in Vogel. However, as we will see, a good deal of evidence indicates he knew they would fail, but understood that their failure was necessary to fulfill prophecy and to allow his own translation work to move forward. That's pretty cool. Martin took the facsimile of the final sealed plate to the first politician, scholar, and world traveler Luther Brandish in Albany, and then to the distinguished scholars Samuel Mitchell and Charles Anton in New York City. Footnote 18 says, for a detailed examination of Martin Harris's journey with the character transcript, see Richard E. Bennett, Read This, I Pray Thee, Martin Harris and the Three Wise Men of the East. According to Anton, The document carried by Martin Harris was a transcript of a page of the Golden Bible, i.e., a facsimile of a single plate from the set Joseph had recovered. See Charles Anton to William E. Vilbert, August 2nd, 1844. But which plate? Joseph's mother recalled him wanting to send an alphabet from the plates. That's from Lucy's book. And Joseph's father recounted that such an alphabet was contained on the last plate of the Book of Plates. And you can see that in Lapham's interview in Vogel. Fitting together the various puzzle pieces provided by Anton Joseph Sr. and Lucy Mack Smith, it appears that what Joseph sent to the scholars was a transcript or facsimile of the concluding plate. Footnote 22 says, it is also possible that Joseph Smith's transcription provided facsimiles of multiple plates, including the bottom plate of the sealed portion of the stack and an additional plate or plate from the top of the stack. This facsimile, which appears to have been lost early in Joseph Smith's prophetic career, should not be confused with the still extant and widely circulated Characters document, a small scrap of paper on which are written 7 horizontal rows of Book of Mormon characters. See Chapter 4 from further discussion on the fate of the Characters transcript taken by Martin Harris to Charles Anton. Ooh, that sounds fun. That's coming up, I guess. Though commonly misidentified as the Anton transcript, the Characters document does not fit any of the descriptions provided by Anton, nor the similar description provided by an anonymous 1850 informant who reported also seeing it. Footnote 24, an informant told Orsemus Turner that Martin Harris had shown him the manuscript title page, i.e. the transcription of a plate. On it were drawn rudely and bunglingly concentric circles, between, above, and below which were characters with little resemblance to letters. That's Erasmus Turner, History of the Pioneer Settlement of Phelps and Gorham's Purchase in Vogel. Interesting. Instead, the plate facsimile shown to Anton, which had characters displayed in 1 or 2 parallel columns, was adorned with depictions of sun, moon, and stars, was a different document. See Anton to Vibert, I guess that's a letter or correspondence, from August 12, 1844. 6 years after examining the facsimile, Anton described it as consisting of all kinds of crooked characters deposed in columns. It included crosses and flourishes and characters from various alphabets. In Anton's later account, he described characters from Hebrew and Greek on Martin's report. Anton had said they were Egyptian, Chaldaic, Assyric, and Arabic. See Joseph Smith History 164. And you can get the quote about the characters that he was talking about, Anton to Howe, February 17, 1834. The characters were arranged in perpendicular columns, and the whole ended in a rude delineation of a circle divided into various compartments, decked with various strange marks. Anton saw in this circular design an echo of the Mexican calendar given by Humboldt, meaning the Aztec calendar published by Alexander von Humboldt in 1814. Anton Howe, February 17, 1834, Alexander von Humboldt, researches concerning the institution of monuments of the ancient inhabitants of America, with descriptions and views of some of the most striking scenes in the Cordilleras, Plate 23. That is a long title. So you remember that Aztec calendar that we had on our wall for the longest time? Basically, he compares that with that. So, and in 1841, Anton would again describe the paper Harris presented him. Quote, the characters were arranged in columns, like the Chinese mode of writing, and presented the most singular medley that I had ever beheld. Greek, Hebrew, and all sorts of letters were intermingled with sundry delineations of half-moons, stars, and other natural objects, and the whole ended in a rude representation of the Mexican zodiac, unquote. You can see that in Anton to Coit, April 3rd, 1841. An informant, possibly Charles W. Brown, reported to Orsemus Turner that Martin had showed him the facsimile Joseph had drawn, which the informant understood to transcribe the plate's title page. He described it as containing concentric circles between above and below, which were characters with little resemblance to letters. See Turner, History of the Pioneer Settlement, and Vogel. This account of a circular symbol on the plate's facsimile resembles Anton's description of a symbol representing the Aztec calendar, which consisted of a sun symbol surrounded by concentric circles and divided into symbol-laden compartments by the sun's rays. There's kind of a picture of this if you need. So I think that's what they're kind of thinking of or comparing it to. Martin's Kirtland, Ohio neighbor and confidant, Francis Gladden Bishop, who acquired considerable information from Martin, gave this description in 1850. On the last plate is a circle with rays proceeding from it, resembling the sun as commonly sketched, and around this circle are 24 circles. Interesting. Well, at least he's a lot more descriptive. 24 circles more, but of a different character from the first, as each of these circles is composed of figures resembling stars and half-moons, as a star, then a half-moon, and so continued until the 24 circles are complete. Interesting. Sorry, I'm thinking about that. If you have 24 half-moons, I wonder if there's some sort of lunar calendar meaning to it. Or, That's an interesting one. So 24 circles, half of them half moons. So that'd be like 12 half moons and 12 stars. I'm wondering if it does have to do with calendar stuff or if it has to do with 12 tribes of Israel. Because lunar calendars, I know there's 12 solar months, but lunar calendars can basically be 12 or 13. But I wonder if there's some sort of stellar calendar that goes along with lunar calendars. Hence the 24 of them. It's just that is out of my depth. But that's got me thinking. Bishop, whose close relationship with Martin Harris will be explored in Chapter 5, would have known something of the final plate's design from Martin's description of its facsimile. His report disagrees with Anton's in placing the circular symbol at the center of the plate rather than at the end, but it agrees that this symbol was present and consisted in part of concentric circles. These various descriptions of the plate's facsimile are confirmed by a description offered by Fayette Lapham based on his 1830 interview with Joseph Smith Sr. He said that the facsimile the prophet took from the golden plates reportedly reminded one observer of an Ottoman Turkish travel certificate. The remaining pages were closely written over in... this is a quote. Quote, "The remaining pages were closely written over in characters of some unknown tongue, the last containing the alphabet of this unknown language. Joseph, not being able to read the characters, made a copy of some of them, which he showed to some of the most learned men in the vicinity. All the clue he could obtain was from George Crane, Palmyra resident, nearby neighbor to Charles Bradish, brother of Luther Bradish, who said he had seen a pass that they given to Luther Brandish when traveling through the Turkish dominions, and he thought the characters resembled those of that pass. Accordingly, Joseph went to Franklin County and saw Mr. Bradish, who could not read the strange characters, but advised him to return home and go into other business." Unquote. You can see that Lapham interview in Vogel. There was a footnote I missed talking about the 24 circles, and this is it. It says, Bishop's mention of 24 circles on the seal of the plates parallels the 24 elders of John the Revelator's vision. Okay. Revelation chapter 4, verse 4, and 19, verse 4, chapter 19, verse 4. and 24 Jaredite plates found in the Book of Mormon by Limhi's people and abridged by Moroni as the Book of Ether. See Mosiah 8:9, Alma 37:21, and Ether 2:1. Ether 1:2. Francis Gladden Bishop, an address to the sons and daughters of Zion scattered abroad throughout all the earth. Bishop offers a description of the entire set of golden plates. Both Anton and Turner's informant agree with Bishop's account in describing a circular design, including concentric circles and the sun, moon, and stars. Bishop's description also agrees with Joseph Smith Sr. in placing an alphabet on the plates, and again Anton in having the characters arranged in columns. Sorry for the barking, we're taking care of the free-bearing dogs. So, hey, Lena, will you please let the dogs out? Bishop offers a description of the entire set of golden plates, alphabet.
You need to go potty?
Just go, no talking.
Sorry.
And again, Anton in having the characters arranged in columns from the top downwards, rather than rows running from left to right or right to left. Bishop's description, however, differs from that of Joseph Smith Sr.'s in placing the plate's alphabet on the front plate or title page rather than on the final plate with the circular figure. And unlike Anton, who consistently recalled the facsimile ending with the circular figure, Bishop places it in the center of the final plate. Bishop understood the final section of the plates to be part of the sealed portion discussed later in this chapter. Thus, in his understanding, the final plate of the set, the one containing the circular design, was also the last plate of the sealed portion. Interesting. So I guess there's a little bit of disagreement about specifically was the plate on the top one or the bottom one, or but at least the idea of having the 24 moons and circles, interesting. I never thought about the 4 and 20 elders of John the Revelator's vision. Oh, that's cool. Anyway, so on with the text of the book. Scholar Michael McKay has identified a letter from Luther Bradish indicating that his passport-like certificate from the Ottoman Empire was written in Turkish and included a Turkish seal. You can see Michael Hubbard McKay get them translating the characters on the gold plates. Following up on George Crane's comparison of the plates facsimile with this certificate, Martin would later take that facsimile to Bradish in Albany. Bradish doubtless compared the facsimile to his travel certificate, and there is no account of him indicating a close match between the two documents. But there is a reason to believe there were, in fact, similarities that had led to the documents being taken to Bradish in the first place, as noted by Aaron Jennings, who has located 2 Ottoman Turkish travelers' certificates of unknown date. Turkish passes did somewhat resemble Anton's description of the characters document in having circular symbols or seals and representations of moons and stars. You can see Aaron B. Jennings, Charles Anton, the man behind the letters. My own search for Ottoman Turkish travel certificates from near the time of this event has identified such a certificate from 1844 with striking similarities to the descriptions of the plate's facsimile. This passport contains 2 large representations of the crescent moon and star that were symbols of that empire, 3 circular seal stamps, a large central circular or oval symbol composed of 24 smaller circles, each containing a 7-pointed star. Wow. 7-pointed star. That's a bit different. I'm not used to seeing those. I'm used to the 5-point star, and I always loved the idea of a 7-point star. Tried making them as a kid, but I didn't know you could uniformly make a 7-point star. Well, if you can make a 5-point star. And calligraphic Ottoman Turkish script, a form of Perso-Arabic. Oh, Persian Arabic. Yeah, Perso-Arabic. No wonder George Crane saw similarities between the plate's facsimile and Turkish pass. Footnote 34, photograph of 1844 Ottoman passport in author's possession. This document was auctioned as a collector's item via eBay. Image recovered from Google's image cache December 29th, 2016. Notably, Arabic was one of the languages Anton reportedly identified on the plate's facsimile. While Joseph Smith almost certainly would never have seen an Ottoman Turkish travel certificate prior to transcribing the characters and symbols from the plates, it appears that such certificates coincidentally shared with that facsimile several similar Arabic-like characters, representations of suns and the moons, and circular designs, including one with 24 circles. Based on the plates facsimiles, reported similarity to a Turkish travel certificate, and agreeing descriptions of the facsimile by Erasmus, Turner's informant, Gladden Bishop, and Charles Anton, the final plate in Kimura's book almost certainly contained a complex circular design included in concentric circles and astronomical representations. Anton's attempt to explain this design as a variant on the Aztec calendar, but the Book of Mormon... he's tried to describe it as a variant on the Aztec calendar. But the Book of Mormon suggests another possibility. Moroni, the concluding author, finishes the book by saying he is about to seal up these records. See Mormon, chapter 10, verse 2. On the book's title page, which Moroni had written previously, he says the book was primarily written by the hand of Mormon, but would ultimately be sealed by the hand of Moroni. As discussed at the beginning of this chapter, sealing a text included being certified authentic and pure and kept in the safe possession. This involved the use of a distinctive symbol, which is one engraved on a signet ring that could be pressed into wax. Because of this time-worn practice of impressing a distinctive symbol onto a document, the word seal has come to refer not only to the physical impression or stamp made on a document, but also to the symbolic design of the impression itself. Thus, for example, the Great Seal of the United States on the back of a dollar bill includes the familiar symbol of a circle enclosing a pyramid and all-seeing eye, from biblical times down to the present, such as symbolic seals has often taken circular form. Oh, that was another thing that So, bumming around the internet, I know a lot of people say the pyramid and all-seeing eye are like, oh, that's the Illuminati. No, apparently, I didn't know this before, so sometimes bumming around the internet helps, but apparently the Illuminati was Bavarian, and their symbol was like an owl. So, didn't know that. The whole pyramid and eye is actually a very Christian symbol, because there's 13 levels to the pyramids, meaning the 13 original colonies, and it's unfinished, saying that there is going to probably be more. And the eye at the top, of course, is the all-seeing eye of God. So it's a very Christian symbol. Unfortunately, the internet and time and whispers and rumors change that. The complex circular symbol on the golden plates was said by Bishop to have been affixed specifically to the back of the brother of Jared's sealed record. See Bishop and address. This is consistent with Joseph Smith's description of the position of the Book of Mormon's title page within the plate's stack, which identifies the title page as appearing at the end of the Nephite record, but identifies this as being found at the top of the plates. Oh. So Joseph Smith wrote in a draft history of the church, I wish also to mention here that the title page of the Book of Mormon is a literal translation taken from the very last leaf on the left-hand side of the collection or book of plates which contained the record, which has been translated. The language of the whole running same as all Hebrew writing in general. Joseph Smith History, 1838 to 1856, Volume A1. So, to me, when he's talking about the left-hand plate, that means that I don't know whether he read the plates right to left or left to right. If it's Hebrew is read right to left, but I don't know if their books go left to right or right to left, because the Japanese are right to left, and you read their books right to left, meaning it's kind of just like backwards compared to the English ones, where we read left to right and open the book, you know, kind of the same way from, well, I guess I always think of it going left to right because I'm opening the book. I start on the left page and go to the right. With the Japanese, you start on the right page and go to the left page. So, interesting. So I can't tell if it were Hebrew, and I don't know which way you open a book from, because if you open it backwards to what we're used to, that'd kind of be like the very last plate after all the Nephite stuff, before the sealed portion. But the first part, on the other hand, if it opens the book like we are used to, then I would think that describes it as being the last page after all what was translated, but before the sealed portion, but on the very, very last part. Anyway, interesting. Things I never knew. It's being the top of the plates. Okay. It's also consistent with David Whitmer's detailed description of the front section of the Book of Mormon. Let's see here. Yeah, it is also consistent with David Whitmer's detailed description that the front section of the Book of Plates was the Nephite Book of Mormon, while the back section was the brother of Jared's sealed book. And you can see Abner Cole's book, The Gold Bible, number 6, for information on that. The various descriptions of a circular seal on the bottom plate would thus dovetail beautifully with the Lord's instructions to the brother of Jared to write things and seal them up. See Ether 3:37. Moroni similarly reported that the final thing he would do with his own Nephite record was to seal it up. Moroni's seal on the plates is possibly reflected in the descriptions of the plates, just as the brother of Jared's apparently is. Let me reread that. Moroni's seal of the plates is possibly reflected in the descriptions of the plates, just as the brother of Jared's apparently is. Joseph Sr. described symbols occurring on the front plate, which we have argued minimally included compass and square, and granting the descriptions by Joseph Smith, David Whitmer, and others that the bottom of the plate's stack was the Jaredite sealed record, and the top of the stack was the Nephite record. This is precisely where we would expect to find a seal affixed to the plates by Moroni. These sealings of various portions of the Book of Plates apparently involved a physical action as real as the engraving of words on the plates. Just as the Book of Mormon's text was primarily written by the hand of Mormon, so it would be sealed by the hand of Moroni. You can see that on the title page, in part by engraving a sacred symbolic seal on the top plate, just as the brother of Jared apparently engraved a seal on the bottom plate. These physical actions of affixing sacred seals to the plates symbolically represented or enacted the prophet's delivery of their plates into divine care. Whew. So there was a top seal and a bottom seal, and both on plates with different information. Ooh. Next section is pretty long, so I'll stop here for the day. But that's getting cool. I did not know about that. I remember him talking about there being the compass on Ward Radio. I remember him talking about there being the compass and square on the front, and he goes into that more later on, hopefully. But that's cool. So you got a seal for that, and then you have the portion of the Jaredite plates I always remember being depicted like there being bands around the sealed portion of the Jaredite plates that they're not supposed to read. And so I wonder if he'll get into that later, because I just remember that being kind of like the depiction of it. And now that I think about it, if Hebrews open their books different from us, then that would mean the rings would be on the right-hand side, and we'd open it, taking it from our left hand and going to the right, instead of taking it from the right hand and going to the left to open the book. Oh, God. That's way cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this one, Dad, and see you tomorrow.